Hello and Allah. Part time is 9:42 of the change time. Today is Wednesday. I don't know what day in March. This is really getting tiresome for me to come down and explain things. The reason of this talk is I think one of my most important videos with a reference to the substance, and I urge those who are interested in the Baha'i faith to listen to this right to the end of it, and I try to just be concise and fast. I just call this the misconception of the Baha'is or even non-Baha'is or whoever about the mission of Baha'u'llah and the Baha'i faith. There's a huge misconception there. When you talk to people, many people, especially Canadian people in the West, they say the goal of Baha'i faith and Baha'u'llah is to create an international, government for the planet, to raise this level of mankind to understand equality between man and women. People understand religion is to be according to science and logic, and so on and so forth. Well, hear it tonight. That is absolutely not true. Baha'u'llah has not come to create an international government or fix the economical problem or social problem that we have. Absolutely not true. He would not go to jail and have 20,000 people die, 113 years, 500 books rebuilt, just for this. Mankind has showed perfect capacity to do this. People in Canada, but they don't have any idea about the Baha'i faith, or US, or Australia, England, Sweden, Finland. By themselves, they have reached to this social level, and they have created a society that's perfect. I'll show you when this is. But according to Baha'u'llah, he's a dead, perfectly dead society. What does that mean? That means the mission of Baha'u'llah is a spiritual mission, not social mission. He has come to get rid of disunity. He says, go into Google, put under the word compassion, kindness, love. Baha'u'llah says all of that is to get us, make us to reach to a spiritual ascendancy. 99% because we're going to die and we will not have a healthy soul. This is the reality I'm telling you tonight. There are people such as Nelson Mandela at our time, or Gandhi, or others to come in future. Yes, they have done a lot for mankind. They've gone to jail. They've done a lot of things. But their goal was to free their people from the English rule in India, from white rule in South Africa, and create better economy and social freedom. That's all it is. They have nothing to do with the level of kindness in people, or they don't have an ideology that you can teach it and feel better or change mankind. These two particularly were national, but even at the international level, nobody has this mission of Baha'u'llah, spiritual mission. So I've written a lot of notes for me. I'm just going to go fast on it. If you break down the Baha'i faith into categories, you can say that we have rules. There are commandments, such as taking fast, obligatory prayer, the way to marry, donations, participation in the formation of the local and national spiritual assembly, and so on and so forth. Are these things makes a person spiritual? No. Why did he say that then? If this is not his underlying spiritual value to do on the other side of the world, after this life, why is he saying that? It's because these rules and this commandment keep a Baha'i within Baha'i faith. It keeps him alive. It's a maintenance rule. By praying 24 hours and taking fast and do all this thing that's said in this life, it will not take you to heaven. Many people who killed Baha'u'llah, they were also performing prayers and fastings and everything else, reading the holy book, but yet they killed Jesus, Muhammad, Baha'u'llah. Most dangerous people actually. But yet in Baha'u'llah says you have to do it. Why, for example? Why do we do fast? We're doing fast because we want to create, strengthen the willpower. There are many people of all kinds that to penetrate in our soul, in our mind, steal our free will, makes us to smoke cigarette, buy things we don't need, work for nothing. But you can't say no. We take fast to strengthen the muscle of mind to say no. I don't want it, I don't need it. What do? Pray. We pray so the children, they can see that every day we bend down in front of an unseen God, and then they ask, we tell them it's God. It's a matter of experience. I've seen Muslim families, the fundamentalist Muslims, their children always obey their mom and dad. Because they've seen mom and dad are obeying something bigger than themselves. Families, they don't do that. Children usually don't listen to mom and dad. That's just one of the reasons, speculating on, but there are the reasons of that. So, part of the Baha'i faith are these commandments. Okay, Kitab al-Aqdas and whatnot. The second part, if we break it down, trying to categorize it, is the social principles. Equality of the right of man and women, auxiliary language, universal government, la 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 la. These have absolutely, they are not spiritual also. We could do all of these things by ourselves and not to get anywhere. These principles are preparation principles. He's prepping us, mankind, socially, so we can go into the spiritual level after this easier. For example, just a matter of experience. If a guy does not believe man and women have equal right, you try to teach him Baha'i faith, it's almost impossible. He's not going to accept it. But if he's a Canadian and he believes in that, it's not too hard for him to listen to the Baha'i faith. So these spiritual, these social principles in the Baha'i faith also a preparation to become a spiritual. It's a catalyst. To be polite does not make you a spiritual, but it makes it easier when you convey the spiritual message because of your politeness, beside of your cleanliness. People get attracted, you see, to the point that we do not manipulate them, This is what artists do. They cover the truth, and not the truth and truth, in a most beautiful way. People get attracted to it. They can make Hunchback of Notre Dame to look like Marcello Mastroianni. I can do it. This is why I don't use art or editing or anything else in what I say. It's my spirit, my feeling carries out in my words. I don't want to change it. Baha'u'llah didn't, Abdul-Baha didn't, Shoghi didn't. They just do as they are. So these things also then are not spiritual. The third sets, category in the Baha'i writing, it pertains to the Baha'i administration, from local, national, and this universal laws of justice. Again, these things are clearly by Shoghi Effendi and universal laws of justice. This fake one in Israel, they say that the world order of Baha'u'llah in general and universal laws of justice, all of it, it's a means. It's a tool. It's not the goal. The idea is that there's a Baha'i in Japan, and I don't know him. But I could ask the National Spiritual Assembly, I'm looking for Mr. Bess, and they could contact and find out where he is. It's a means to make things easier. You see? It's a transition. We can come to the assembly to find people to see this, find friends, to fix things. One of it. The other one is very, very important, is that if our division goes to the point that we are starting to kill each other, hate each other, and go outside of the Baha'i principles, Baha'i rules, then universal laws of justice will move in and say this and that cannot be published, this and this cannot be taught, that's just not useful to people. It's basically an editing program. It edits things that are harmful to mankind, and this is done based on the principle that says religion is according to science and logic, because Baha'u'llah just has given us the framework. We are to make our own religion. That's what he says. Through his system, we can do it. So then that is not also spiritual. To be the member of universal laws of justice means nothing. Has zero merit spiritually. To believe in equality of man and women has zero merit in the spiritual realm. To pray 24 hours, fast, and do all of that has zero merit. But majority and the main theme of the Baha'i faith is the spiritual revelation to spiritualize the world. Sign a contract with somebody, which Baha'i faith says do it. But if you two are Baha'is, you can trust each other for anything. It just makes it easier. So when you look at the writing of Baha'u'llah, he says his main goal of revealing Baha'i faith and going to jail and suffering is to get rid of jealousy, is to get rid of transgression, is to get rid of ignorance, that we are looking at each other as though we are different and inferior to each other. He wants to ask that we become a spiritual and grab a spiritual quality. We need it when we die. He says the next life, this life is exactly like a matrix of our mother. There we grow a hand and arm, we didn't know what for, and now we're coming here, daddy comes. First was the mommy nature in the mommy, now daddy comes and tells us, okay boys, girls, if you want to live after here, you want to exist, you need faculties. You need to develop kindness, forgiveness, consideration, a sense of justice, fairness, or else you cannot survive. And he has revealed means to get those things fast, incredibly fast, and an action that results in the cultivations, okay? Not just throwing the seed onto the desert. So, I've written some notes for myself. Many people, they say this word, a spiritual teaching. I like to just call it a spiritual revelation. You cannot teach a spirituality. Then what is a spirituality? Because I tell you why you cannot teach a spirituality. If somebody's rich, has money, or is interested in books, whatever, access to the book, he has a big family, they could teach him all about Baha'i faith. He could be born in a Baha'i family, learn everything, read everything, and act all of those, and he becomes spiritual. What about that poor boy in Djibouti? What about him? He's poor. He has nothing. And he doesn't know Baha'i faith at all. He never heard it. what's going to happen to him? Then what is spiritual? So all the writing of Baha'u'llah, even on the spiritual level, does not bring you a spirituality. I cannot tell you, the most I can say that these are suggestions, to us. What makes the spirituality is the decision and the judgment that you make every day. It's very practical. Abdullah says, God is ruling over our conscience. He says that. Therefore, he says, everybody is free to say whatever they want, but stay within the framework of being polite, within the, not to say things that bother some to others. But you're free. Freedom, he says, has to be there, because this voice that we hear, he says, is the voice of God. Even Charlie Manson, the will is not taken from him to become a Baha'i. This is a very particular, special understanding. It's like you have a mailbox, electronic mailbox. In this case, it's biological mailbox, a spiritual mailbox. You have a password on it. No one can get in there. You see actions every day. Sometimes it's in the movies, between funny characters, sometimes daily, sometimes it's news from other side. But you every day say, they're wrong, they're right, this is not good, that is not good. Every day you're judging, 24 hours. And then you make a decision, or no decisions. Wrong, it's not a spiritual. Right, it's a spiritual. That decision makes you to hell, to heaven. It doesn't matter where it is, but when it is. It's more like a computer. One day I asked my son, how does this computer work? I don't understand. I said, oh, Dad, it's simple. He gave me an example. He said, it's a light. Shut the light once, computer just registered that. You can call that A. Then, on and off, B. 2 times on, 1 time off is C. Just by yes, no, yes, no. 2 times yes, 1 times no. That's how computer works. Then it creates between yes and no's in combination an alphabet equal to A and B and C. Then they took those alphabets and then write sentences. So if you write down Bob, then B means 2 times off, 1 times on, and A means 1 time off. So you combine it, then on the computer it shows as Bob. In a very lame way, he was trying to explain to me. I said, I see. I got it. The process from simplicity to the complexity. Same as in the nature of God. We are that computer. Every time we say yes, and then we say no. Those on and off that we say in our mind, it accumulates in some kind of a letters that we write sentences. Our character, we write it down by that on and off saying. It's just the same way. And it will never go away. Even you are the member of the universal laws of justice, you still deal with this. You have to decide and you have to say yes or no. And based on that, that becomes a spiritual decision, yes or no. When you are not a Baha'i, if you say enough proper yes and no's, then you have a craving in you. You become pitiful every time you see something's pity. And it's not just. Then basically decide to do something that's fair. In this realm, if you go, you become a candidate, God calls upon you, whether you like it or not, whatever, you end up becoming a Baha'i. In the Baha'i faith, those actions prior to become a Baha'i is required for you to get admission into the Baha'i faith, not graduations. In the Baha'i faith, those actions that has made you Baha'i, by helping this guy in the street or sending money to somebody overseas, these things is not enough. If it was enough, Baha'u'llah would not come. So Baha'u'llah says, God, what do I do for these clones of mine, these children? So these actions that was in the religions of the past, whatever, is not enough. I gotta make it to go faster. So just like we know giving is generosity, okay, and letting somebody to have your turn is consideration, there is an actions, two actions mainly, Baha'u'llah's created, is not in any dictionary books, that if you do these actions, you gain abundance of the spiritual quality. And no Baha'i in the world can do that. It's impossible for them. This is why he's out here, for this spiritual mission. Has created a factory for us by his revelation that we can just go in, get on the highway and go fast forward to become a spiritual. Non-Baha'is, I'm not expecting them to know this. Of course they don't know. It's impossible for them to know. But how many of you Baha'is they know about this? Those who know this answer because they're doing it. It's no difficulty for them. It's called teaching of the Baha'i faith and pioneering to the places where the Baha'is are not there for the sake of teaching them, because nobody goes there to teach them. Then it becomes, turbocharged. Now when you teach Baha'i faith, you become loyal to God, you become faithful to God. You become generous because you're spending time and money to buy these books and your time. You ate food, now you have energy, but you're talking to somebody for no money, no reason. Just do it. Then you become generous. Then you're feeling bad for him because you want to fix him. You're kind then, compassionate. You're trying to talk to him as nice as you can. You become considerate, you become polite. So many attributes that are real. I've written in my videos, I think from series in my channels, from channel 20 to goes right introduction to a practical religion, goes to the point that it brings psychology, and then after like 10, 15 channels, I think around 30 or something, it introduces the attributes, qualities that makes spiritual money. People, they think spirituality like kindness or generosity or these things are feelings. Nobody's, no brothers, it's not like that. This is an actual, literal quality. It's like buying diamond. Okay? It's like beauty of the face. If you're kind, you might be beautiful. If you're too kind, you might be able to fly your soul. You're teaching a lot, and you're bigger, way bigger than this planet. How big is on the other side? The difference between that side and this side, the difference of the classroom to the main society in New York City. In the classroom, Donald Trump is sitting beside Charlie Manson and maybe Albert Einstein and Mother Teresa. They're all in the same class. Nobody knows who's going to be what. Class is finished, everybody goes differently, ramifies infinitely. Consequences are big after you die. Here, what do you see? Okay, there are people. What do you have? Car, this, that? No. In the other side, there are people that can actually fly. Because they're detached. They have no weight on their head, liking things that's in this life, material things. They have no attachment. They're very, very lightweight. Ooh, they fly. Those who die with a lot of attachment to here, oh, where's my books, where's my car, where's my this, they just landed on the ground, okay? Those attachment is like a weight that holds them down. So, This is why he has come. But then you say, well, a lot of people can say those things, Mr. Tamori, you're just trying to, sophisticating the matter. It's not true. Listen to Mr. Gandhi, Mandela, Mother Teresa, Ayatollah Khomeini, even the religions of the past, Muhammad, Christ, Buddha, Rama. Go in their name and teach their teachings. Go, let me see what you feel. Zero feeling. Nothing. As Quran says, Tijaratan lan tabur. A business that is no profit. This is why Baha'u'llah is coming. He's the maker of those things. So, in the spiritual realm, in the physical realm, you know how materials in the atomic form, they become molecule, then become a heavy molecule, like DNA, and then they become plant in the combination. Then they become animal, then they become human, and they become good human. You see, the series takes us to the way that metaphysical aspect in the life shows itself up. So when you die, it continues, It is going towards that. So this is the reason, okay? So no, but there's one point though. I call it graduation in the Baha'i faith. That I've said in my Masnavis, and not my Masnavi, the Masnavi of Baha'u'llah, if you go back, he says that there's a point that you no longer judge. You need to judge for good or bad. There's no longer you need to decide. And then you're graduated. Your internet not using its own files. It gets connected to the internet of Baha'u'llah. That spirit, which we know one big window called Baha'u'llah here, the same Baha'u'llah, will use you. He becomes a radio. He transmits his will through you to people. In the Baha'i faith, they're called guardians. In another religion, we call them ecclesiastics, divines, this and that. Okay. So we get to that point, we can. All right, let's go continue. Now, let's talk a little bit about teaching too. I've written here something. Now you see these guys, test them, I test them. We watch a movie. I see how they get affected when they see a scene, that somebody's doing good things or somebody's suffering. Or as we go, I associate with them to see where they are spiritually. I see they have this sign of liking fairness. They see there's injustice. And they're looking, for something that is not physical or social. They're looking for a solace. Something that shows, okay, I don't belong to this system. Where is it somewhere that there are people all like me? They're the candidate. Teach them the Baha'i faith. But do not use the Baha'i faith in a matter like a business that you think you gotta sign him a card and know he's a Baha'i. Not really. That would be manipulation. You have to try to become friend with these people. Not because they're Baha'i or they're not. There's two ways. Either you learn or you teach. Then they ask you, about your faith or the religion or this or that. I usually tell them, just go on the internet or I give them a book. I don't start preaching to them. I'm trying to, convert them, as they say. It's a very bad word, conversion of a man. And I don't bring them to the Baha'i community because when they come in, they like this social, gathering of the Baha'is. And then they get attracted to the social teaching because all of these nice people are nice and they enjoy from each other. Because of those reasons, they're becoming Baha'i. Bad reason. My brother says, all the Baha'is are sitting around are crook. I told him, so I'm not crook. Now what are you going to do? Because of me you want to become a Baha'i? That's very bad, you know. Because if I am a reason Baha'u'llah is right, you're going wrong about this. I'm right because of Baha'u'llah, but Baha'u'llah is not right because of me. That would be wrong. This is what Baha'u'llah says, independence, you know, investigation of the truth. It doesn't matter if there's no one in the world and Baha'u'llah just shows up. You're not going to tell him, you don't have people, you don't have this, you don't have, you just hear what he says. And look, the company, and you see that it gives you a lot of spiritual energy and you love him, you don't want to leave him. You're attracted to him, he's addictive. Then you become a Baha'i. Not because of those reasons, you know. So, all right. I think I don't need to go too far into this. The topic is vast, but I can say also this, I think it's a part of this, is that, all right, we understood what do you mean by a spiritual teaching and how the procedure goes. How does a person become Baha'i? By saying yes and no in their life to the goodness. And God tells them in their conscience. But what is the reason for Baha'u'llah to have this power and others like Mother Teresa not to have, or Pope Francis not to have, or Ayatollah? You know, with the order of Ayatollah, thousands of people, when they gave their lives. What's the difference? When it comes to those with spiritual power that the person says go die, and people go die, you gotta know this. They are borrowing, like mortgage, from the bank. Then they come and build their ideology. If Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran would say, Muhammad is not a prophet of God, no longer, I am in charge, people would put him in the asylum right away. If that Korash, somebody in Texas, didn't stick to the Bible to call himself Korash or whatever, people wouldn't go through him. A Pope goes against the Bible, says the Bible is over, I'm the leader of you, and I tell you that a new religion has come, it's me. People bring him down tomorrow. That's what Baha'u'llah did. He said to the Muslim, you're all finished, over. This religion is over. I am the new one. I am as big as I am the sender of the Muhammad. I am the father of Jesus Christ. What kind of a claim is this? Is it a claim really? Nah. It's just telling the truth. Only to what we understand. He is way bigger than this. You think creation to you guys, this material life, this material world, He's creators of billions levels of lives. Have you encountered a universe where the electrons are 5 orbiting around the nucleus, not 8? Have you seen deeper in the level of universe where there are ginormous things that are made out of quark? It's not even plasma. Plasma means non-atomic structure such as particles. There is such a heat exists, such a velocity exists, where things becomes quark. You pass through them and you don't know. He's the maker and the creator of many thousands of those in this material life. What about the other side? It's incomprehensible. One way you can comprehend it is this. You're an intelligence being. Imagine you're going to live 100 trillion years. Imagine what will happen if you don't die. You probably create this universe a million times over, and change it and redo it, just you. Having time with intelligence, they'll do it. But he is infinite. There's no time where he is. That's what Baha'u'llah is. This Baha'i faith and this Mirza Hussein Ali, the body of this man, is just a window. He's like Microsoft. He brings Windows, thousands of it. You saw the first one, Adam, okay, Windows 90, I don't know, 93 or something it was. But this goes. Baha'u'llah's no end. That's what who he is, you know. Big, way huge. All right, but this is just a claim. Let's elaborate this. What are the reasons I found that for myself that he's not like others? You can go to my videos to find out, or read the Baha'i books. He's been prophesied by all the religions of the past. Time, date, place, from Buddha to Islam to Christianity, into the Old Testament, even the Yucatans in Mexico. Even the Navajos. I went to the Navajo Reserve. The chief with the 12, a headdress with the 12 feathers, which is the 12 principle of Baha'u'llah, coming from these. It's all over the place. Nobody has been prophesied like him. The second thing is that he has this incredible, amazing penetration into the heart of the people. I'll give you one of the miracles because it's visible. Can you imagine anybody from any religion, clergy, priest, pope, Ayatollah, to come down from one religion to go to the holy place of another religion? A Muslim goes to the Hindu temple, to Buddhist temple. Christian goes to a mosque. Muslim goes to a church. And in the church tells them that, okay, Christianity is over, finished. There's no more Christianity. Now it's the religion of Islam has come after Christianity. What will happen to this guy? Best scenario, they call the police, they take him, send him to asylum or somewhere. But Abdul-Baha, by definition an ex-con, the man who was always convicted of his spiritual power in the Ottoman Empire, old age, very old. He comes to America. Read it, the diary of Mahmud. Mahmud's diary is translated. Find it on the internet, go get a copy. You will be amazed how many Americans, they were begging him to come to their churches to talk about this new message that God has brought. Even the Jews asked him to go there. Theodore Roosevelt went to listen to one of his work. Admiral Perry was there. Graham Bell asked him, please come to talk in the Institute of Technology in Chicago. Isn't that seriously crazy? How could this happen? A person who's old can't speak English as a translator. Even the translator were not good. They were tricking him, mistranslating. Then he found out, you know. So many of them gathered when he left. There was a mountain of the gift given to him, and he said, I can't use this thing. My family, we just came out of jail. We don't use this ornament, but I can accept it, and I ask you to build a temple here at Chicago in Wilmette. Go look at it. It's like in a spaceship all of a sudden in this residential place. You can feel their spirituality comes from the wall. It's different, okay? This one. So this kind of a penetration of the power to send a crazy, absolutely prejudiced Muslims from Iran to believe that you are the promised one and Islam is over, and in your order he goes and kill himself. Not killing, because that's not what Baha'u'llah and Baba and nobody wants, but to go to teach for whatever the price, and they accept it and they go do it. 20,000 of them. None like it is there. Then Baha'u'llah is different because he has postulated the real TOE, theory of everything. It's Baha'i faith. You know, it's a practical system. It has an administration that will, like a ship, take this cargo to its place. It's not working right now, that's why I'm here. If you look into it deep, nobody has given such theory. Marxism, Constitution of the United States of America, whatever. Nothing is as conglomerated, as complete as the Baha'i faith is. The fourth one is actual endurement of the pain that Baha'u'llah has taken. It's unbelievable, brothers. They say that the believers, when they go from long, far, far away those days to visit him, after a few days, some people, they thought they are wearing a boot because all their foot was dark, red, black. It was bed bug or some kind of bug eating their blood. In those circumstances, I've seen in Israel where he was. The same jail where Israelis, they were fighting for their freedom against the British. In that colony, at that time it wasn't in the hand of the British, but it was the hand of the Ottoman Empire. Baha'u'llah was there. And he didn't complain from us, but couldn't even change his mood. What kind of power is this? Who has given that power? Not because he had nothing else to do in the life. Not really. He was a very big, wealthy, rich. His position would be like a count, you know, like a baron in Iran. He's the son of the minister of the Shah. With so much money, everything gone. Freedom is gone for life. In Iran, you can't even today say you're a Baha'i, they kill you. Now you say you're Baha'ullah, 150 years ago, among these absolute savages. It is an insult to call those people donkey or monkey or a snake. It is an insult to animals. Because these poor animals, they follow their software, the nature is paid for them. These guys, they decide to come do things to impossible. Well, in the magazine, I think it's called newspaper Front, Soldaten Front, one Austrian, he says that I've blocked myself in my office, I'm not coming out because I see they're putting these bobbies and they're such a torture, these Persians. That's incredible. They put nails in their foot, in the sole, just like a horse, and they make them to walk. And when they can't walk, fall down, they whip them to stand up and walk. They open their mouth and they put molten lead in their mouth, and they don't recant. It's incredible. In that situation, Baha'u'llah announced. Pardon my French, not like these assholes that they call themselves the leader of the spiritual world. Shame on them, shame on you that believe in them. Okay. So, number 5, I studied. You cannot find trace of evolution in the writing of the Baha'u'llah. You can't say he started here and then gradually became better in idea, in expression. No, it's all the same. You read one of his Book of Certitude. He wrote it before even he announced his prophethood at the time of the Bab. You know, what, probably 30, 32, 33, something like that. And then another book is called Tablet to the Son of the Wolf, at the end of his life. You compare it, you wouldn't know which one's first, which one's last. There's no trace of evolution, because Baha'u'llah doesn't think. Thinking is for us, it's a different species. He only processes the thought, the knowledge that's already there. Number 6 is that we see inventions in the world, but he has invented a spiritual mechanism by which we can feel a spiritual. Go try it. Teach the Baha'i faith in 1 week to somebody, whoever to know, read the book, feel good, go teach it. And you see what will happen. It's a miracle. You're going to feel better. Fear goes away. You'll find meaning in the life. This is another reason Nobody else can tell us to do certain things for which you become spiritual by your own testimony. Nobody. Only he does. Number 7 is the power of his writing. All these writings of Baha'u'llah and the Bab, oh my God, especially the Bab, it's beyond belief, beyond understanding how this young man has come up with all these things, solving all these codes and everything else. And then when he writes, he also looks at you and talks to you and he writes like a typist. You know, they're talking and typing. How is this possible? The scribe of Baha'u'llah had too many pencils like this. When one falls down, the guy had no time to lift it because Baha'u'llah is fast and they go with the shorthand. If you look at the original word, absolutely without thinking, without stopping, it just goes on like a machine. No halt, no stoppage. Yet it is so amazing. This is it, the power in writing. And the fact is that he had no teacher for this. Who would know things Baha'u'llah knew in 1844 when Baha'i faith started? He was at that time 27 years, Bob was 25. Who would have to teach Baha'u'llah to write these things? And believe me, his writings encompasses all the area. I brought that in my, internet, whatever, www.5elders.com. All my speeches are there. You can go by the number and see it. This is another incredible thing, It is impossible. You cannot just come up with things without having a teacher. He did not have a teacher. Simply, who is going to teach him? That all the elements, he says, in the chemistry, they all come to a point that all become the same. It's like we know right now. The first one is hydrogen and everything turned into hydrogen, into different elements. All the radioactive elements, they come down and they become lead. But that's what he says. Because they were asking him whether copper can become gold. He says all the elements can be interchangeable to each other. How did you know this? There was no chemistry at that time. And so many other things. Creation of me. I haven't read his books, I've just read his books. My mind is the biggest analytical mind on the planet Earth. There's none like it. I know you don't believe it. I'm not being cocky. The future generation, they know it. But God knows what's going to happen. He brings them, bring people like me, ahead of the time. Comes 50 years from now, it is impossible to follow the Baha'i faith as it is. Then people say, oh, that guy, he died. Since I'm dead, I joined the League of the Heroes, and all these Baha'is or non-Baha'is, they come and follow me. Go ahead, it's your choice. I'm here now, if you want to listen. If not, wait your turn, if you had enough time. So, and there's no deviations from a system. I know you might think that, then why the universal laws of justice doesn't work? Universal laws of justice, it works. This is not the one, then why is it there? Because it was necessary at that time. These universal laws of justice can function to protect the faith. But it is like antibiotics. At one time it kills the germ, now it's killing everything else. Your liver is going, your kidney is going, because you should not take the antibiotic. So I have come on his behalf to tell him that time has changed now. We have to go in a different phase. I'm sure there are people in Universal Laws of Justice sympathize with this. I personally like that the Universal Laws of Justice to be the boss. I really don't want to do this. And make an amend to what I'm saying, and I don't want to see them. I don't want to see you. once this is done, I'll go my way, and then we know the fate of God is on his track, and that's all that has to happen. I'm not expecting anything else out of this. It's only that I want to make Baha'u'llah happy. My driving force behind this is the love of Baha'u'llah. I love that almost every human being on the planet is capable, if they have said enough yes to the goodness and enough no to the bad. I'm just giving you an example, a story. Imagine a beautiful car stops in a house and take Baha'u'llah, Abdul Baha, Effendi, all of them, and a car to get them somewhere, so people are waiting for them. And the guy changes in the middle of the way. He takes them right down in the middle of a desert, some desolate place. And this Bab and Baha'u'llah, they're like children. They're not going to do any act of violence, even against this guy. You know, that's how they are. So this man forced them, pushed them and pulled them into a dungeon, and he locks the door and says, die there. And he doesn't know I'm watching this from a distance. I said, I see. He goes, I'm sure he's gone. I go, knock the door. Said, hey guys, there. Oh, it is you, Abbas. I said, yes. He says, well, open the door. Which one of you in the planet seeing this are not going to help them? All of you. Why don't you? You don't know. Because you don't know. If you knew them, who they are and where they are. What's that jail right now? It's called Universal House of Justice. This Baha'i administration is that jail. They have jailed Baha'u'llah and his reality into this. They're not letting to be diffused outside. Am I talking to you bullshit? No. Then why am I not a part of them? Why can't they accept me for what I am? If this is one example, take a look. Anybody who is intelligent and knows something and has power and a freedom is going to be shut down by them. This Universal House of Justice at this phase is a dead meat. That's it. But they have members. Those members are not the part of the Universal House of Justice. They're just drivers sitting behind this broken machine. They have to contact. Do not be afraid. And trust. I have given all my credentials as an elder. Why am I one? If you think I'm not, please write a letter. If you want to test it, go ahead again. I am the one. I have come. But don't make it bigger than what it is. I am no Baha'u'llah. I'm a patch to the windows that Microsoft sends to the who have subscribed to the Windows to fix certain part of the window doesn't work. So who am I? Just a patch in this ocean of the writing about. But nevertheless, it's a patch from him. You gotta install it so the system works. So I will wait sometimes to see what happens. You don't know how difficult it is for me. Please believe me, it's very difficult. I would rather go teach, but I can't. Because Baha'is, they say, how come you are excommunicated? Then is there a different version of the Baha'i faith? So for the sake of unity, I have to shut down. William Sears says, it's better to be united, not to be right. United is more. But as long as the Baha'i faith is not dying, but it comes to the point that it's dying, I will have to come here and denounce this system and take the rope and claim the leadership of the Baha'is, at which point, if they don't listen, they all go to hell. And then I have to start a new version. I hope it doesn't come to that point. I hope. But it's the willpower, and it's up to them. I hope it doesn't get to them. But at this point, I urged before, I know I'm talking in the mid-air because nobody's going to listen, that these so-called prominent Baha'is, they are the zeros, big zeros, to me. But for some reason, Baha'is, they think they are somebody. They have some kind of a fame, some kind of a thing. They should call me and I have to tell them what to do to fix the system. But because they've learned things and they think those things have distinguished them from other people, they don't want to come to talk to me as if I'm less than them or I don't know what they know. You guys, you want all those thrones and appreciations of the people and whatnot. I don't like to be appreciated by this type of people. I go amongst these mentally handicapped people. I like them. They're all gonna make it to the next life. To the six. In here, if I was in India, to seriously poor people. I have no business to do with you guys.